This is a video I wanted to make for a while now, and I think it's about time. And this is kind of inspired off of many events that has happened, honestly, in this year alone, in 2016. But it's been quite a few years, and I guess this is just mainly my grievances with Shonen Jump, and why at times I almost feel as though I want to get out of reading a lot of Shonen Jump and maybe just stick with stuff that I'm already reading because of these problems. And I started to experience this for myself around 2012. I mean, I want to state this immediately. I've, since I was a little kid, come to accept that things must end. Like, even back in the days when I wanted more Dragon Ball and I finished Dragon Ball Z, GT, I accepted after a while, yeah, things gotta end. They just do. You can't have shit go on forever and ever. Same thing with Yu Yu Hakusho. I came to accept that as a little kid. So my argument here, or my complaints, or my grievances, has nothing to do with the fact that you can't accept that shit needs to end. No, I clearly understand that shit needs to end. However, one of my problems that, again, has become ever so apparent in 2016 is the fact that Shonen Jump, yes, it's a business, absolutely. You got to think about your dollar and all that good shit. However, you do also have to realize that people are invested in these stories, and you have to treat them as more than just like paper trails. And what I mean by that is, you look at a lot of these manga, especially the ones that, they're only 16 chapters and shit like that. It really is a shame. And I think that they definitely, something they need to work on is figuring out a way to make these manga actually have better endings and overall just give them more of a chance. Like, you go back to manga, Hungry Joker, Barrage, Takamagahara, like there's so many different manga, Red Sprite, all these series, we read them for about 3 or 4 months, and they get canceled, and they have horrible endings, and they have the same old shit with the character smiling at the end, and them saying, yo, check out this motherfucker's next work, like, yo, we just canned this motherfucker's ass, and shit like that. And it's like, that's already bad. But I will say, you know what, at the end of the day, you wasted a few weeks of your life, whatever, fuck it, 16 chapters, 16 weeks, it wasn't that big of a deal, fair enough. Okay, that's your whole motto of how you're trying to figure out what's popular, what's not, which I think 2, 3, or 4 months isn't enough really to gauge whether people give a fuck. Maybe that's just me. I think each manga, if it's serialized, they should give it a lot longer of a shot, maybe half a year. That way the mangaka knows I'll have 2 ideas planned. One is, if it's going to end, I'll start going that second route and I'll have it wrapped up by the 6-month mark. And if I pass that point, then okay, I know what I'm going to do further on. So it would give better fucking closure for a lot of these series that they get 10, 15 chapters, 20 chapters. I think Hungry Joker lasted 24, Red Sprite was like 15 or 16, Barrage was the same, about 16 chapters and shit like that. So I definitely think that that would be something to help clear that up, because I'm going to be honest with you, I do feel very disappointed and very salty when I'm starting to really enjoy a series and I think, oh man, these characters, all the potential and shit like that, only for the series to end with a shitty fucking ending, and it's like rushed and skips out on everything, and it just completely cans the series and fucks it all up or whatever. But that's not even as big an offense as something else that they've been doing. When you have a series go for hundreds of chapters, that's years upon years, and you just rush it or whatever, I think that that is a very fucking annoying thing. Now, granted, I would argue with series like what I'm referring to, Toriko and Bleach, they give them a bit more of a heads up. They're like, you got 6 more months, wrap shit up or whatever. But when you have these series that they have this really grand idea, especially like from what I heard with Toriko and shit like that, they have this grand idea of what they want to do, and this is going to take them 3 or 4 years, and you say, hey, you got fucking 6 months, wrap this shit up and get it out of here. It fucks it all up. I think they should have a little bit more respect for the readers at that point, when Toriko, like, it was set up like One Piece in a way. There's a time skip, and there's the gourmet world, and there's going to be so much shit. And from what I understood, it skipped 3 major arcs, and there was supposed to be a space arc, and the space arc was trimmed down to literally the last page of the last chapter or something like that. Spoiler alert, I'm sorry, but the space arc never happened, and it was basically like, yeah, they're going to have more adventures, and it's going to be in space or some shit like that. So that's really a slap in the face to the fans. I mean, I heard Toriko had a somewhat okay ending, but nonetheless, it's still rushed, and it fucks with something that could have been great. Bleach, Kubo still had quite a few things he needed to explain. And again, that was, 686 chapters? I think you can give the man enough respect to let him finish the way he wants. I understand that there's money involved and shit like that, but at the end of the day, it's bullshit in a sense to say there's money involved, because Bleach continuing, yeah, Kubo has a salary, but Bleach is gonna bring in a ton of more money than fucking X, Y, and Z just coming into the magazine, which they haven't had a really big home run in a while in Shonen Jump with new manga. I mean, even My Hero Academia, as much as we love it and all that shit, it isn't really a hit out of the park. It's still only selling about 100 and something thousand to 200,000 first week, and probably doing, I want to say, around 300 or 400 to half a mil per volume, which sounds awesome, but in comparison, Bleach was probably doing more than that. And Bleach, you know, has an established fan base, and Bleach was still, what, top 20, top 30 selling every year. So Bleach was still making them quite a bit of money. So in that regard, okay, you can't even really use that argument because Bleach is still bringing in money. Toriko is probably still bringing in a decent amount of money. I just think, especially when a manga gets to a certain point, you need to have respect for the readers and allow the mangaka. Maybe, okay, you can't go another 5 years. We want you out of the magazine as soon as possible. Maybe here's about a year and a half or something, or just start slowly working with them so that way it's not a complete crash and burn like what happened at the end of Bleach. Bleach was just savagely cut, and then even Toriko skipping arc upon arc and hey, it's over and shit like that. That's my grievances with Shonen Jump, and honestly, I feel as though sometimes it makes me not want to get into new series, especially the fresh ones, no matter how exciting, because I've been wanting to check out Demon's Plan, I forget how it's pronounced or whatever, but I'm just like, why am I going to check this out when there's a strong possibility that in 3 months it's going to end, it's going to have a shitty ending, it's not going to get developed properly, and I'm going to be left disappointed. So that's something that really bothers me, because it's like I'm investing my time, sometimes I'm investing my money. When the volumes come out over here, I pick them up, and it's for nothing in a sense, because I'm not getting what I should get. I'm getting a shittier product because Jump wants to say, you ain't as big as One Piece, get out. And it's like, that's not how it should be at all. And I think that their model of what they've been doing, especially how they treated Bleach and Toriko, you got to think your favorite manga, no matter how good it's doing or whatever, if it slowly starts to dip, you're going to get a shitty ending because Jump is like, that's enough, you got to get out. That shouldn't be the way it is. Let me know what you guys think about all this. What is your complaints about Shonen Jump? I mean, I'll probably still keep up with, you know, Jump in general. Like, of course, One Piece, still going to keep on reviewing it. And, you know, everything that's established that I still read and review and stuff like that, I'll keep going. But as far as new series, I'm definitely going to be more apprehensive. I mean, The Promised Neverland is probably one of the last ones that I'm still heavily invested in that just came out. But with Red Sprite, it just felt like a kick in the nuts. Between that and Bleach and Toriko getting the axe early and shit like that, is like, come on, man. We're more than just fucking paper. We're more than just fucking checks. We're people that are invested in these stories. Have a little respect for us. And have you experienced this as well? Like, being honest with me, like, have you been into a series, like, let's just say even you were a Toriko fan or a Bleach fan, and did it really piss you off? Because you got to think, again, you were invested years upon years. If you bought the volumes, if you bought the magazines, whatever, if you supported the series in any which way, they owe enough to give you some sort of respect, to give you a decent ending. You do not deserve to get a shitty ending because Jump wants to do what they want to do, and I think it's not right. Like, imagine, all jokes aside, and I mentioned this in a couple of videos, but imagine if One Piece starts to dip next year and they say, Oda, enough. Oda, we don't give a fuck. No, you're getting to Raftel in 3 months. We want you at Raftel in 3 months, and we want in another 3 months Luffy to be Pirate King and wrap it up. Imagine how distraught you would be. You get what I'm saying? It's unfair, and it honestly, again, is something that makes me feel as though, why am I wasting my time getting into these new series when ultimately they start to crash and burn, majority of them that I really love? And then I started to think to myself, well, it's something that I used to do. Maybe I should continue and get back into it, and that's give it the 1 to 2 year rule. Wait until the Shonen Jump manga has lasted a decent amount of time, maybe a year's worth of chapters, possibly even 2 years worth of chapters, and then start to try it out. But I do like to get in things when I hear about good things, because at the end of the day, in case you guys don't realize, I love anime and fucking manga. I love this shit. So I do like to, when I hear everybody buzzing about Demon's Plan and, you know, this and that manga, I like to say, oh yeah, I'm gonna check it out right now. Oh shit, I love it. And that's how they get us hooked. And then unfortunately, that's how they reel us in and then say, fuck you, we took your money, get the fuck out. And these are some of the reasons why sometimes I think, like, am I wasting my time with Jump? Because at the end of the day, if this series even starts to dip slightly, they're going to throw it out the window. They're going to fuck it all up. And I invested my time to get a really good story or a really entertaining story. And I don't want to have a shitty ending because Shonen Jump wants more money or whatever their policies are. And your overall thoughts of all this? Again, this is my grievances, my frustrations with being a Shonen Jump fan. And I love Jump to death. And, you know, again, I've accepted. I want to be clear about this because I don't want people saying, you just can't accept that things need to end when they need to end or blah, 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 blah. I've accepted that a long time ago. I accepted that when I was a kid and I was depressed because I finished GT, and it wasn't just that I was depressed because I watched GT. Yeah, things need to end. I get it. But they need to have respect, especially for the long runners. You know, fair enough. A manga is doing really horribly. No one gives a fuck in 4 months or whatever. Get it out, whatever. But at the very least, for the manga that have gone 300-400 chapters, 4 or 5 years, show some respect. Give them a decent amount of time. Give them a year's heads up. Work with them. Let us get a better ending than what they did to Bleach, and to a certain degree, even Toriko skipping shit. It's just not right. And your overall thoughts of all this. But thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you want more from me, make sure to subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and stalk my Facebook to get more when the video ends. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day, baby.